Hi everyone, Angela here. To make this pot holder, I'm using this waffle-weave tea towel that I've washed, dried, and pressed. Fold in half with wrong sides together and smooth it out. I'm using a 9.5-inch template to cut out 2 squares. You can cut them any size you like. Make sure not to include any of the hems of the tea towel when cutting out. Using chalk or a marking pen, find the center at the top and bottom and draw a line down the middle. Then do the same thing going across. We only need to mark this top piece. From those center lines, I'm drawing lines 2 inches on either side, up and down, and across. To put in between, I'm cutting out 1 piece of cotton batting. You can cut 2 pieces if you like, just use the top piece as a pattern to cut the same size. I'm also going to cut out 1 piece out of Insul-Bright thermal batting. This batting is heat resistant. Place the tea towel with wrong side up, and then with all the edges matching, layer the 2 battings and the piece with the markings on top. Carefully clip the layers together all around. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use can be found down in the description. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. Lengthen the stitch length to number 4. Carefully sew along the center line, there's no need to back tack, and use your fingers close to the foot to keep all the layers in place. You can also use a walking foot to do this. Sew the other 2 lines beside the center one, both starting from the top. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment below. As always, I'd love to know where in the world you're watching from. Now after sewing these first 3 lines, you can see that the fabric is pushed slightly to the bottom. So the other lines now, as you can see, look like they're on a curve. So I'm just going to steam away the chalk marks and remark those 3 lines so they're nice and straight. When you sew these next 3 lines, you may have to lift the presser foot from time to time and push the fabric in a little bit to keep it from pleating. Once you've finished sewing those 6 quilt lines, remove all the clips. From the outer quilt line on each side, draw a line 2 inches from it. I have a template with different curves on it. I'll be using the curve with the 2-inch radius. Mark the curve on 3 of the corners. If you don't have a template, you can just measure from this inner corner 2 inches in a few places. Next, starting from the straight corner, we'll stitch right on top of this line all around. Carefully trim all around about 1/4 inch from that stitch line. You can make it a little less than 1/4 inch, but don't make it wider. Turn the dial to number 8 for a zigzag stitch, and then set the length at number 3 and the width at number 6. Zigzag all around so that the outer edges are caught inside the stitch. Now this step is optional, but the zigzag really flattens the seam nicely, making it easier to add the binding. I'm just flipping it over to the side that I think looks nicer before adding the binding. I'm using 1/2 inch wide double fold bias tape that I made myself. You can find my tutorial for that here. To start, cut the end straight across and open up. When clipping the tape in place, match the edge of the tape with the edge of the pot holder and then fold over. The center fold of the tape should be right in the middle of the edge. Carefully clip the bias tape in place, and when you're going around the corners, just stretch the tape enough so that the inner folds are flat. Just try to keep the bias tape even on both sides. When you get close to the end, clip close to the corner, then measure 4 inches from the edge and cut the binding. Fold in the end of the tape, then push in the center so that the outer corners won't stick out, and clip in place. Remove the clip close to the corner and move the end of the tape out of the way. With the presser foot up, lower the needle down so that it's just beside the folded edge of the bias tape, then lower the presser foot. Continue stitching with the edge of the tape inside the zigzag stitch. Just take note where the folded edge of the tape is in relation to the marks on your presser foot. Now, of course, you can use a straight stitch to attach the binding, but the zigzag stitch is very forgiving and there's less chance of the binding coming away from the edge of the pot holder. When you get close to the end, reposition the bias tape and clip close to the corner. Continue stitching until you get to this edge, raise your needle, and then change back to a straight stitch. We now want to edge stitch the binding together. Lift the presser foot and just shift the pot holder to the left a tiny bit. Back tack, edge stitch right to the end of the tape and back tack to finish. There's no need to stitch across the end. Fold the end of the tape to the back so that the end is about 1/4 of an inch past this edge. We'll stitch a line here and start your stitching in the center of the binding and not from the edge. Hold the binding securely and back tack well at each end. So the zigzag should look pretty even on both sides, and as I mentioned before, it's pretty forgiving, so even if you don't stitch it perfectly, both of the folded edges should be caught inside the stitching. The loop is nice and neat, and I love the feel of the waffle weave in my hand. It just feels like it has a better grip. This finished pot holder measures about 9 inches square, and it would make a great gift along with one of my hanging tea towel designs or a bowl cozy. You can find those videos up next.